Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Matt with Coyote Creek Archery here in Ellis, Kansas. We've now moved into the month of December, so that magical month of November is behind us, and deer patterns are starting to change. We're moving, from rut more into post-rut. Deer are looking for food. Maybe the hours that they're on their feet and that you're seeing them moving is starting to change. So if you haven't filled a tag yet and your state still allows you time to hunt, here in Kansas, archery season runs through December 31st, so there's still some time. If you haven't filled your tag, make sure that you're out there enjoying God's creation, enjoying this passion and this sport that we love, and get out there and hunt and keep after it. Things can get tough and get discouraging, and the weather gets cold. It's a lot easier to sit inside and watch football games, but get out there and keep on hunting. You just never know when you might have a chance to fill your tag. I've shot several deer in December before, and it can be a fun time to hunt. But I was fortunate to fill my buck tag here a couple weeks ago, and so talking about my hunting setup and how this has progressed throughout the season. If you watched, I had a three-part series on the Bowtech CP30. That's this bow right here that I built, that I put together, and really love this bow. It served me very well throughout the season. And but things have kind of evolved from my videos that I did back in August to now. So I want to kind of go through that just a little bit and my thoughts and some of the changes that I made. Again, this is Bowtech CP30, so 30-inch axle to axle, nice forgiving 6 3/4-inch brace height, and it's just a very smooth drawing, very fun and easy to shoot bow. And for being a shorter axle to axle bow, it still held very well at distance. I could shoot it at 40, 50 yards, and the bow held very well. And there were some reasons for that with my stabilizers, and I've kind of changed some of that up. But I want to go through my setup here and talk about what I've done to make things a little bit different than what I had in that previous video, that series. So strings, first thing I did, if you saw those videos, I changed those strings out to electric strings. These are made by Jim at Kansas Archery Center, and he does a great job. And so shout out to him, and been very pleased with his work, and using his strings on a lot of my customers' bows as well. My rest is a Ripcord Max IMS, so it's an integrated rest. It connects to the dovetail here on the back of the riser, and it's a cable driven, so I have full arrow containment, which for the way that I hunt, here in western Kansas, it's a little bit more open. There's not so many trees, and so I do hunt from a tree stand occasionally, but the last 3 deer that I've shot have all been off the ground. So I do a lot of hunting off the ground, and having that full containment, just knowing that my arrow is not going to move on me and not be moving around, making noise, that type of thing, I really appreciated having that. This rest has served me very well. No movement with that IMS. It's been very durable, very reliable, so I've been very happy with that. So I'll continue with that on this bow. For the sight, I'm just running just a simple 3-pin black gold rush sight, nothing fancy. It's just solid, durable. The 3 pins is really all that I need for hunting whitetails. I've got a 20, a 30, and a 40-yard pin. Most of my shots are going to be inside of 30 yards, and for me, that's the whole point of archery hunting anyways, to get close. So I'm not looking to take long shots. I want to try to get as close as I can to the animal. And the deer that I shot this year was 15 yards. So, this sight served me very well. I've got a sight light on there that I use occasionally. If I'm sitting in some cedars and I'm tucked away, getting towards last shooting light, I can turn that on. I can have a little bit better visibility of my pins. And so I do like having the option of having this sight light. Going back down the bow, I did have a Octane, the QDS hunting kit with a 9-inch front stabilizer. I had 2 ounces of weight on that, and then I had a back bar, little 6-inch back bar with 4 ounces of weight, and I really liked that. The bow held very stable and steady. I could shoot, even in a little bit of wind or shooting out the distance, the bow held very well, and I was able to get on target and hold very steady. But to me, it just made the bow a little bit heavier than what I wanted for being a mobile hunter. Now, you know, here the plains of western Kansas, I don't hike in long distances. Half to maybe 3/4 mile to some of the places that I'm hunting. So it's not like a super long, difficult hike. So the weight of the bow didn't really bother me much as far as that went. But I noticed the bow would get heavy if I was in a situation where I was locked down with a deer, and I was in that stare down with the deer, and you're sitting here like this holding the bow for maybe 5 minutes. Seems like forever, right? Maybe more. And you've got deer around you, and you've got to sit there for 10 minutes, and you've got to hold that bow. That's where that weight started to add a little bit of fatigue. So I was looking for ways to lighten that up. And I don't know that I accomplished that, but I'm trying this Bee Stinger. It's a micro hex counter slide. So it's a 15-inch bar, 2 ounces of weight in the front, 2 ounces of weight in the front, 2 ounces of weight in the back. And then it allows you to pivot this up and down. You've got 2 different holes where you can adjust that where you're mounting it. And then this bar will slide forward and back where you can really find your balance point of that bow. So I'm trying this. Kind of serves the same purpose of having 2 bars. It just maybe simplifies things. I'm going to try that. If not, I may just run just a simple 8-inch bar off the front and call it good. But so far, this adds some nice balance to the bow. It's not super heavy. It's very solid and rigid, and there's no movement in that. And so I'm going to try that for a while and see what I think. I'm still running, and I don't have it on here, but I have a tight spot. They're 5-arrow quiver. Love the tight spots, and so I'm going to keep using that. But with the bow itself, I started out hunting on comfort mode on these on my modules, on my flip disc mods, and I really loved the feel of comfort. But after I'd shot my deer, I was kind of playing around with the idea of, thinking about next year, hoping to draw an elk tag, maybe looking to gain just a little bit of speed. And I know 5 to 10 feet per second isn't much, but when you're shooting 60 pounds and 28-inch draw, that every little bit is going to help. So trying to get as much energy, not so much speed, but trying to just get as much energy in that arrow as I can for taking down a larger animal like an elk. So here recently, I've flipped the modules over to performance, and don't mind that much at all. But thinking about maybe going down to about 58 pounds, but still running on performance. I'm still going to gain some speed over my comfort setting at 60. And so that's where I'm at right now, about 58 pounds on performance, and still about 5 feet per second faster than what I was on 60 pounds in comfort. So that's an option that you have. If you're looking to gain just a little bit of speed or a little bit in the draw cycle, there is that little bit of a dump into a valley at the back end on performance, but at my draw length, it's really, really pretty pleasant. Not bad at all. And I still feel like if I'm hunting here in the late season, if I choose to hunt on my doe tag, that maybe it's not going to be difficult to pull back when it's cold and you have extra clothes on and that type of thing. So some of the changes I've made to the bow so far, absolutely love the bow. I'm going to keep hunting with it for this year, but just some of the things that I have noticed and some of the things that I'm kind of playing with. So you do have that option if you want to switch it over to performance and drop a little bit of draw weight. For my arrow, still using the same. This is a gold tip black label Quantum 340 spine. I've got AAE, the Max Stealth vanes on the back. They steer very well. They're nice and quiet, and they hold up well. So I've been very happy with the Max Stealth. 125 grains on the front, and my broadhead is 3-blade Magnus Snuffer SS, 125 grains. I did have to sharpen these, and I've used these for a couple years now, and I've been very happy with them. Even out of the package, Magnus says these are not going to be sharp enough to hunt with. You need to spend some time sharpening them. And so there's several options. You can use a file, you can use a stone, or but what I've used is it's called a Stay Sharp 344, and it uses different grits of sandpaper. It's a little bit of a guide, and it has kind of a rounded edge that puts a fine point on these blades. And it took some time. I would take a Sharpie and mark those edges, and then I would sit there at night while I was watching TV or whatever, and I would just work those edges over that jig on different grits of sandpaper, and I could see that edge starting to develop. And then you're using buffing compound at the end. I have an old belt that I use as a leather strop, and I got these blades really, really sharp. And that deer I shot this year was 15 yards off the ground, and broadside shot, but clean pass through with this arrow. And I found my arrow 15 yards beyond where I'd shot it, and had a nice blood trail. Deer only went about 80 yards and died right there. So quick, clean kill. And these fly really well for me. Again, I'm only shooting about 260 feet per second. So getting your broadheads to tune at a slower speed like that is not a difficult thing. If you're shooting, 290, close to 300 feet per second, you're going to have a little bit more difficulty tuning a fixed blade head. Not saying it can't be done, but slower bow is going to be a little bit easier to tune those broadheads. So that's what I'm running for my arrow setup. If you remember, I started out using B3 Exit Pros, this handheld release. I really liked it. I liked the feel of drawing the bow with the handheld release, and I was really working on my controlled shot process and thinking through that and just squeezing through the shot. And I shot well with it. I shot with this release quite a bit. I still use it while I'm shooting the bow inside or just testing out bows or that type of thing. But I got to the point, and maybe it's just an old habit that dies hard. Got to the point in hunting season where it was getting colder and I started to wear gloves, and I just didn't feel as comfortable with that handheld release. So I went back to this, and this is the Scott Verge. It's a hook style release. So if I can show you that, it's got a hook. It's got a magnet, and an auto return. Once that goes off, you squeeze this and it resets it. 2 fingers, and it's got a lot of adjustment to it. I like that it has this strap where you can really adjust the length of it, because most of your wrist strap releases that have the metal connector and not a strap connector are pretty long, and they're almost too long for most people. You can shorten them up, but I really like the strap because 1, it takes some of the torque out. 2, you can really adjust this to get the length that you want. And I like the feel of using 2 fingers, kind of a deep hook, and then pulling through the shot, using my back muscles and pulling through the shot with that. So when it was colder and wearing gloves, I went to this. It changed my my anchor point just a little bit. So I think I was hitting about 2 or 3 inches right at 30 yards. Moved my sight just a little bit, made that quick adjustment, and I was back on track and shooting this. So if you do switch releases in the middle of the season, make sure you check your sights and make sure that things are still good, because I did have to make an adjustment there. Very simple. It didn't take very many arrows to get that figured out, but I switched back to this, and I was very happy with that. So that's my hunting setup and some of the things that I changed this year. It's kind of sad to see November be over with, but we still have a month left. So I've got a doe tag, and I may get out and hunt. I don't know that I will actually shoot a doe. Like I said, our deer numbers are pretty low, but I want to try to keep some deer around. But I can still get out and hunt and not shoot an arrow. We'll see. I'll see if I can manage that or not. But this time of year only comes around once a year, and we got to wait quite a while to get it back. So I want to be out there doing something. So anyways, that's how my bow has changed. Now, another thing, I'll have some more videos coming up. You can see right here over my shoulder, I've got another bow here that I want to talk about. This is another bow that I picked up and put together. So I'll have a video coming up about that here pretty soon. Also, I changed my entire clothing system. You might have saw my video last year where I talked about my QU setup, and I really liked the QU gear. It was quality stuff. It fit me well. It served its purpose well. It wasn't probably the best stuff for whitetail hunting, because there were some times when I wish I had more insulation. It was, it's more of an active type of hunting gear, and I understand that. So the other thing was the Vias camo. I think it looked really good to my eye, but some of my hunting situations, I felt like I got picked off fairly easily. So I sold all of my QU gear, all of my Vias camo, and I changed some things up. And I ended up going with a lot of Stone Glacier stuff. And again, Stone Glacier is not made for whitetail hunting, but I found some of those pieces to be a little bit more versatile and work a little bit better for some of the situations that I'm hunting in and how I hunt. Stone Glacier stuff is phenomenal as far as the quality and just how things are thought out and how they're put together, but also the fit. The fit of the Stone Glacier stuff for me fits me really well. I tried some Sitka pieces. I actually tried quite a few Sitka pieces. And again, really nice stuff, but it just didn't fit me as well. So I hung on to just a few of them. I have a few Sitka pieces. Mostly what I'm hunting with now is just solid colors in the Stone Glacier stuff. And I did pick up a used set of First Light Solitude jacket and bibs, the 2.0. You got to have that windbreaker out here because the wind's blowing. Actually, right now you might be able to hear it. It's blowing a good 30 to 40 mile an hour out there. So it wouldn't be very fun hunting today. So made some changes to that as well. If you're interested in hearing more about those, I might make a video in the future. Leave me some comments below. Say, hey, I'd like to see more of your Stone Glacier stuff and see what you got going on there. I'd be glad to make some videos on that. But if no one's really interested in that, then I'll move on to other things. So anyway, those are some of the changes I made throughout my season, kind of my post-season report here. And looking forward to 2024, hopefully getting out of state and doing a few hunts. And if I do that, I'll definitely have some videos talking about my plans there and my setup and how things are going and get in my preparation. So anyways, I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully this video provided you with some good information. Hopefully you're having a great day, folks. Thanks for watching, and God bless.